Right. Hi, my name is Eric, and today I'll be conducting a full postural assessment, including both static postural analysis and a dynamic bodyweight squat screen. My client is presenting with a rolled forward shoulders, and this analysis will help identify muscular imbalances contributing to their movement patterns and inform a corrective exercise strategy. So, standing with static posture, he's just going to stand there, nice and relaxed, nice and tall. Feet are going to be hip width apart, and he's going to be barefoot in his socks. Good. I'm going to observe from the anterior, lateral, and posterior views. So, from the anterior view, the client demonstrates symmetry in the lower limb alignment, but no visible valgus in the knees. For the shoulders, they're slightly asymmetrical. I can't even talk. Asymmetrical, thank you. With the right shoulder elevated just a little bit compared to the left. From the lateral view, the acromion is forward of the ideal plumb line, which indicating rolled forward shoulders. The ear is slightly anterior to the shoulder line, which suggests forward head posture, and the thoracic kyphosis appears mildly increased. For that posterior view, the scap it shows slightly leaning and mild asymmetry, and there's no spinal sclerosis or pelvic tilt observed. These observations are consistent with upper cross syndrome, a common postural distortion involving tight interior muscles and weak posterior stabilizers. So next we're going to do the overhead squat. I'm going to ask the client to raise his arms overhead, do 5 slow squats, and then we'll do it from 2 angles. Go ahead. So he's raising his arms overhead, trying to get the arms to bisect the ears. Sweet, and then face that way. And do 5 more. There you go. Nice job. All right, so some of the observations I made while observing his overhead squat. Arms drift forward a little bit. He's unable to remain in line with the ears. This suggests tight lats and pecs, and insufficient scapular upward rotation. A forward lean in the trunk is visible, likely due to thoracic spine stiffness or weak core stabilizers. And but the knees, they track well over the feet. There's no valgus or various noted. The feet remain flat on the floor, good ankle dorsiflexion and foot mechanics. And overall movement was symmetrical. So I scored on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the not so good. Starting with the feet, they stable in a line like I said, so I gave it 5. Knees, neutral tracking, strong lower limb control, so I gave it 5 as well. Now there's a moderate forward lean in the trunk, so I gave him a 3. When the arms are overhead, they fall slightly forward during the squat, so I reduced that down to a 2. And the shoulders rolled forward, and there's a protracted scapula as well, so I give that a 2. When it comes to the head and neck, they're just mild forward posture, so I chose to give it a 3. So this client presents with classic upper cross syndrome, characterized by tight and overactive pecs, major and minor, upper traps, levator scaps, and the latissimus dorsi. The weak and inhibited muscles, rhomboids, middle and lower traps, deep neck flexors, and the posterior delts. So these imbalances explain the client's roundish forward shoulders and forward head posture and limited overhead movement control. While their lower kinetic chain appears well aligned and functional, the upper body compensates and poses a risk for shoulder impingement, tension headaches, and poor performance in overhead lifting and pushing movements. To address this, I recommend targeting both mobility restrictions and muscular weakness. So when it comes to stretching and mobilizing, some of the movements I would recommend: doorway pec stretch to work on those tight pecs and give a little more improvement towards shoulder protraction. The lateral wall stretch improves that shoulder flexion and reduces that arm drift during overhead movement. Another one, foam rolling that thoracic spine to restore that thoracic extension and reduce the kyphosis. And lastly, the trap stretch, so for that head posture and neck tension. Some of the strength exercises, we'll give them some prone YTW raises, activate those rhomboids, the mid and lower traps to retract that scap more. Some wall slides to train that upper rotation and strengthen that serratus anterior. Also, that resistance band face pulls, strengthen posterior deltoids and promote scapular retraction. And some chin tucks to target that deep cervical flexors, to realign the head over the spine. And some scapular push-ups so we can engage that serratus anterior for better scapular control and stability. So this program would restore posterior alignment and reduce compensations and improve overhead mechanics. In conclusion, client's assessment reveals significant rolled forward shoulders, forward hip posture, and a compensatory movement during dynamic overhead squats. These findings confirm upper cross syndrome, and they recommend corrective exercise plan will work to address both mobility deficiencies and strength imbalances to enhance postural control and reduce injury risk. Thank you.